All right, Oscar.
Are you nervous?
No. I am calm as a Hindu cow, big dog.
Wow.
We're ready to rock and roll.
Oh, that's some omenry right there.
State of Origin, Game 3.
Yep.
Couple nights away. I hate you with all my heart and soul right now.
Yeah,
and
respectfully and professionally, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you know that. You get that. Let's talk Origin.
Yep.
You've come up with a few deciding factors on what might sway the result towards both states' favour.
Yeah, I feel like I might be repeating myself here in bits and pieces because a lot of the things that New South Wales have done right throughout this series and Queensland as well, I think those areas profile as strengths for both clubs again for this decider. For the Blues, even playing a man down in Game 1, performed fairly in yardage and then were pretty dominant in Game 2 a couple of weeks ago. The ability of guys like Lomax or Dylan Edwards to win a carry on plays 1 and 2, even when Daly Cherry-Evans found the grass in the corner with a really good early yardage kick, you know, the bell started ringing. Here we go. Queensland are about to turn the momentum. And then, like I said, the Blues were able to generate ruck speed early in sets, which then flowed on to the likes of, Cameron Murray, Liam Martin, Angus Crichton, Payne Haas, generating some really good yardage numbers through the middle of the field. So I think that profiles as an area of strength again for the Blues, their ability to get out of their end cleanly. That being said, the inclusion of Selwyn Cobbo for Queensland, I think that gives them a similar strength. I don't think he's been spoken about enough. His ability to break tackles, find his front, scatter the defensive line and disrupt what can be, Blues when they're trying to camp Queensland down in their end. I'm very nervous about what Selwyn can do. And then, of course, Kalen Ponga sitting on the bench. A lot of talk has been spoken about him leading into this game. That very hot photo of him and Walshy, which you shared through.
It might be my phone wallpaper. I don't want to talk about it though.
I reckon you and a few teenage girls around Queensland probably have the same.
Guilty.
Maybe some teenage boys. I went back and had a look at some of the tapes when Michael Morgan came off the bench for Queensland around like 2018, 2019 era. You had Billy Slater setting up on the right edge with Cooper Cronk, and then on the left edge you had Jonathan Thurston and Michael Morgan playing like a double fullback role. That's a lot of questions you're posing to the defence. So the issue becomes for New South Wales, if Queensland are able to, perform fairly in yardage and bring KP on at the right times, they've got so much strike across the park. Looking out for Queensland fans and Cowboys fans will remember the wraparound shape with Jonathan Thurston hitting Gavin Cooper and then wrapping around the back of him to create that extra number. I think that lends itself to the way Queensland's have attacked, hitting short sides. So whether it's Kurt Capel there winning a quick play the ball or promoting a bit of second phase play around Hammer, KP and Dearden, there's a lot for New South Wales to worry about down that side of the field.
So you think Bill's just going to bring Ponga on as a sort of utility rover type position and just let him get up to no good wherever he wants?
I think so. I think the history suggests when you've picked a guy like that on the bench, obviously you're running 2 dummy halves, so he's not just an out-and-out utility backup. You're going to need to use KP somewhere in that rotation. Makes sense that he'll probably defend in the middle and then move out onto the edges and add a second layer to a shift on your left edge.
Very nice. I've got some notes from the bookies ahead of Game 3 that I want to read out. In the match betting, it's fairly even, betting-wise with the punters. There's a 62% of the money is on New South Wales.
Yeah, wow.
First try scorer market, Val Holmes, the Hammer, and Bradman Best are the most backed.
Okay.
And the worst result for our books would be Val Holmes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Shifted out to the wing.
Yep.
He's scored a lot of tries out there.
And he should be on that left edge, I think, where he's played most of his Origin footy as a winger. And also it allows Cobbo to play on his familiar right wing where he played last year. So, I think Holmes is a pretty good value there for Queensland try scorers.
Hammer time? Anytime? Anytime try scorers? That kind of worked. In the anytime try scorer markets, the Hammer, Val Holmes again, as well as Ben Hunt are seeing a lot of interest. Benny Hunt as a roughie. And for New South Wales, Payne Haas is getting some love, as well as Lomax, who's been phenomenal this series.
Yep.
Brian To'o, obvious as well.
Yep.
And our biggest bet that we're currently holding, we have 1.4K on New South Wales to cover the line. That's
Minus
$1, plus 1.5.
Plus 1.5.
They got him.
Yeah, that's a good bet. I like that. I think they've shortened a little bit since the market's opened. It's a daunting place going to win a decider at Suncorp, but I think this Blues squad profiles as well as any over the last 5 or 6 years to do so.
So those are the punters that are already on.
Yep.
Maybe let's try and guide some punters that haven't yet jumped on into some markets. You want to start with a margin? I have a feeling I know what you're going to tip here.
Already tipped it for the potty this week as well. New South Wales 1-12. We've seen blowouts in both games this series, but I'm hoping and tipping a close Blues victory in this one.
Punters, if you flat out disagree with Oscar like I do, I'll be blindly backing Queensland 13 plus like I do 3 times a year.
Yep.
Let's jump into the anytime try scorer markets. You've picked out a couple for both teams.
Yeah, and you mentioned a few as well. The punters have already found the hammer. His strike rate for Queensland is superb. So even at $2.30 as of Monday afternoon, that's still really good value for Hamiso. I like Tommy Dearden at $5.25. Tried to find a little bit of value here for Queensland and for New South Wales. But like I said, I think there's going to be a few different looks through Dearden, Capewell, Hammer, and maybe KP coming down that edge when he's on the field. So yeah, I like the value in Tommy Dearden. And then for the Blues, I mentioned Dylan Edwards last week. Great value as a first try scorer around that $13, $15 mark. I like him at $3 as well to pick up one anytime. We know he likes sweeping out the second layer of the shift on the edges. He scored one in game 2 just like that. He's also a wonderful support player through the middle. And Mitchy Moses as well, taking a half for New South Wales. He scored 2 on Dane Gagai defending in the centres a few weeks ago in Clubland. The Eels set up from a scrum twice to get Moses one-on-one with Gags. I think we're going to see something similar from the Blues trying to isolate some speed onto Dane Gagai in the centre. So, yeah, a couple of tips there for the Blues.
I've got one for you here. Daly Cherry Evans, $5. Anytime try scorer. I think he's going to put this team on his back, and I could see him getting over at some point.
He's one of the best support players in the game. So if you get a line break, as long as it's not too far out and those old legs can get there, yeah, DC is a good shout.
They're fresh Queensland legs when it comes to Origin. Let's talk man of the match.
Yep.
You've also picked 2 from each side of the Tweed.
Yeah, tried to find some value here as well. Obviously, there's short price favourites in the halves and fullback. But for the Blues, Cam Murray and Payne Haas at around $23 and $17 respectively. I think they were 2 of the Blues' best in game 2. Dominant in yardage, like I said. Won't show up on the highlights reel, but those are the guys winning quick play the balls or compressing the line before a New South Wales attacking movement. And then for Queensland, Tommy Dearden, as I mentioned before, at $34. Great value for him. He's been, still young in his Origin career. Probably not his best games by his standards over games 1 and 2, but we know the quality that Tommy Dearden is. I think he can have a big game here. And then Pat Carrigan for me, Pat at $11. One of the most productive forwards on both sides of the ball in the game. I love what Patty does. So yeah, I think he's a good shout.
Very nice. I think for me, I didn't realise he's the favourite in this market, but I'm taking Reece Walsh at $7.50.
Yep.
Hasn't had the series that he obviously wanted to have, and I think he gets a massive opportunity.
Yeah.
Loves running a muck at Suncorp.
Yep.
I think Reece cooks.
And a scary combination potentially with him and KP as well.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Let's talk Wally Lewis medal, and then we'll get out of here and we can start pre-drinking or not because you don't
responsibly.
Yeah, responsibly.
Yeah.
A little bit different to the man of the match. Obviously, you probably need to have a few runs on the board before you come into game 3.
Yes.
Who do you like in the Wally Lewis medal market?
Yeah, that's where I've looked as well. Payne Haas at $13 right now, and Zach Lomax also at the same price.
God, I'd be sick if Lomax wins that medal.
Watch a winger take it out. I think those 2 have been 2 of the Blues' best. Angus Crichton and Liam Martin would also both be up there for me, but a little bit more value in those 2 guys for the Blues. And then you already picked out the hammer at $11.
I did.
3 or 4 tries already this series.
Yep.
At least 1 try in every Origin game so far. I think if Queensland win, he's probably going to feature on the try scorers list. And then my man Paddy Carrigan at $13. If Queensland can slow the ruck through the middle and, reverse the fortunes of what happened in game 2 and really be dominant in yardage, I think it's going to have a lot to do with what Pat Carrigan does.
Very nice. All right, Oscar, get a dog up here, go the Maroons, and I'll see you next week.
See you next week, mate.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website